So you've signed up the client, you've done a little bit of work, fast forward a little bit, and you find out that the client has placed your contract on Facebook Marketplace. It's crazy, but it has happened. The client is selling your services to someone else, your contract to someone else. Is that legal? Is your client contract transferable? We're going to find out in today's video. Hey out there, everybody. Welcome back to Wedding Industry Law. My name is Rob. I am a wedding industry attorney. And in today's video, we're talking about whether or not a client can sell your services to someone else. But before we get into it, very quickly, everybody, I would love for you to check out Wedding Industry Law Hour. That is an hour of me taking questions from the general public, not giving legal advice, just giving nominal information. And that happens every Thursday on Clubhouse. So go on Clubhouse. I'm at Wedding Lawyer, Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, Wedding Industry Law Hour. Come follow me there. Ask any question you want. We have a super great time, a lot of good conversations. Check us out. Wedding Industry Law Hour, Clubhouse. All right. You think that it doesn't happen, but it most certainly does happen. Clients that want to sell their obligations to pay you in your client contract. So in other words, the client, so let's take, for example, that you're a photographer, you're a wedding photographer. The client doesn't want to get married anymore. Rather than lose a deposit or rather than get sued by the wedding photographer for breach of contract, they go on Facebook Marketplace, they go on Craigslist, they go wherever and sell your contract, get out of the contract, such that you show up to the wedding. It's no longer, Wendy and Lisa, it's Luke and Leia. Can they do this? Can they get out of your contract by simply selling their obligations to someone else? So typically in wedding photography contracts and DJ contracts and planning contracts, these are typically looked at as more or less personal contracts. And in most jurisdictions, personal contracts or personal services contracts are non-delegable, non-transferable. In other words, the parties are unique. So the entire consideration behind the formation of the contract is that it's these two people and then this wedding professional, right? So, you are bargaining for these two specific people. Like they go through your onboarding or intake process. You might have quoted them a certain amount based on who their families are or whatever the case is. So everything surrounding the contract is unique. It's personal. You're not dealing with widgets. It's not necessarily 5,000 widgets and now it's 5,000 widgets X, right? I'm not talking about that. So that's typically why the law will not by default allow someone to go, well, it's still the same wedding day. It's still the same wedding location. It's two different people. They can't, the client is typically not going to be able to say that because it is two different people is fundamental to the reason why the contract was entered into in the first place. At least in most jurisdictions, nothing is bright line, but that's typically how it would work. But who knows? I mean, there could be a squirrely judge somewhere that's like, well, it's no sweat off, no skin off your back to go to the same location, film the same two people, particularly if no walkthroughs have been done, not a lot of work has been done in the contract. So in other words, if the judge is like, well, the client is you don't have to double your work and you just show up and blah, 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 it's possible that you could get a squirrely judge. So how do we avoid this situation? How do we avoid the squirrely judge? The first thing is you can actually have it in your contract to say, my services are non-transferable. Okay, so that's super easy, right? And just as an asterisk, everybody, the client transferring their rights under the contract, the benefits of the contract is different than you assigning your right or your obligations to actually do performance. And I've addressed assignment of the wedding professional's performance in other videos. You can go there. We're talking specifically about the client transferring the benefits or delegating the benefits or assigning the benefits to someone else, the benefits. So that's what this video is about. Assignment, another video. So in other words, okay. So in that situation, you can just put it in the contract, non-transferable, okay? The other thing that you can do to protect yourself, to the extent that you want to, I don't want to say waste space in your contract, depending on how often this happens, because, you know, your contract is valuable real estate, and you really want to only go through the things that are most likely and also at the same time most beneficial in terms of protections. But you could, if this is something that's coming up more often, you can basically say that if I see that you have or are attempting to transfer your rights, in other words, you secretly put yourself on market, you put this contract on marketplace, that is going to act as an anticipatory repudiation of the contract, meaning that's a material breach and the obligations are over. Whether or not you were successful or whether or not, you know, okay, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. No, contract is over. You can add these type of triggering mechanisms that would terminate the contract if they do attempt to transfer the contract. So bottom line is, even if you didn't have anything in your contract about it, typically the law is going to be on your side. However, you don't want to have to wait for some judge to tell you that you were right. They can't transfer the contract. So the next step is putting non-transferability in your contract. Fine. And then the next thing, to be even more aggressive with it, is to say, here's what happens if you even think about doing it. So that's kind of the episode today. Very short episode. Actually, the topic of this episode was came about because of Clubhouse. So we actually had someone in our audience that went through this situation. So I was like, that would be a good idea for a video. So again, I encourage you to come check us out every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time on Clubhouse at Wedding Lawyer. Come check us out, Wedding Industry Law Hour. New videos just like this every Monday at Wedding Industry Law, wherever you get your podcast from, or on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. And if you are watching this on YouTube, yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. I have moved offices, and I'm still in the process of unpacking everything. I haven't unloaded everything, so the bookshelves behind me, it's just Pez dispensers and no books. So one day I'll stop being lazy and set it up. But with that, folks, we'll see you next time.